Game 1 of the American League wild card. Detroit in Progressive Field takes on our Cleveland Guardians for, like I said, what feels like the 900th time. Tarik Skubal going for the Detroit Lions. Don't want to talk about them yet. The Detroit Tigers are Cleveland Guardians. Undecided yet. Is that still true?
What I like,
I believe it's undecided, but it'll be Gavin.
It's
going to
be Gavin Williams
based
Tuesday.
off the days of rest. It would make more sense to roll him and then probably Bobby game 2, and game 3 is the only one that's up for discussion in my head.
Ask,
like that's
who would we hand the ball to?
If you're looking for the days of rest, that's when you would go to Parker Mesk again.
Yikes.
I don't know. After his not that, I mean, he's a rookie. It's hard to tell. He's got a career 2.30 ERA. He's going to be okay. But I would probably rather go with Joey Cantillo on a normal 4-day rest for that game 3. I like his arm better. I know he hung up a meatball on Saturday night, but I still like him in that spot.
Dude, can the voodoo magic continue against Skubal? That's really the question as we go into this thing. Is the Guardians have had his number in the last 3 big games that these two teams have played, dating back to the playoffs last year, then these 2 pivotal starts that Skubal's messed up to allow Cleveland to get back in this divisional chase. It seems like they've got a voodoo doll of the guy. It seems like every time that he goes out there against a Cleveland team, he is a shell of what he normally is. And he's still really good and he shoves, but you see those moments where there's chinks in the armor, and that's where the Guardians are able to come through with guards ball, and that's been the recipe. Can they do it one more time, though, is the question. I mean, you're going to see this guy 3 times in the last 3 weeks. You've seen him a ton, and I wonder if what happened in the last start where you were able to get after him is a good thing or a bad thing.
I think it's a bad thing. I think it's a terrible thing because it gets scary of how many times in a row can the worst offense in baseball beat the best pitcher in baseball before it runs out. And like, Skubal has still been really dominant against us at times. Don't get me wrong. He threw the Maddox at Comerica Park earlier this year, totally shut us down. His second to last start against us, he gave up 1 run. Even that last start, he's not throwing the ball between his legs away from his 3rd A+ start against us of the year. Like we're not world beaters against Tarik Skubal by any means. Like, we've gotten lucky a couple of times, and I think you got to hope that continues. But there's momentum back on our side, though, guys. I think that's the big thing to note. I can't even state how big it is we dropped that last game to them, just mentally. I think for fans and the team, like, okay, like, we didn't run off 8 in a row against them to get in. Like, we dropped 1, we lost 1 over the weekend. And hey, here's another big thing too that I haven't really seen a ton of people talk about yet. With trailing by a run in the bottom of the last, or the top of the last inning, when the Red Sox or the Tigers had a chance to pull within a tie because they played ahead of the Guardians, they could have tried to tie for the division. Riley Green, who's arguably their best player, was sitting on the bench, and AJ Hinch kept Parker Meadows in the game. He decided, like, hey, we're okay playing Cleveland. That's basically that's the message I got out of that was, if you're not going to put in your best hitter, you want to play Cleveland, because you would go. If you're trying to not play Cleveland, you put your best hitter in the game, right? That just makes sense. Like, they want to be here. They want to play us. Fuck them. Let's take them.
Because I think they acknowledge that, like, we've kind of gotten really lucky, like you said. Like, when in game 1, are you confident that we win if he comes to the game and he doesn't have a mental error, like throwing the ball through his legs, or a ball that hits some dude in the face at 90 that kind of messes up his mental?
That totally messes mentals, yeah.
I know, but like that's probably not going to happen again.
Most likely not,
those 2 things, like, that was super rare. So I'm saying, like, without that, you're looking at a game where you could be facing a guy that could shut you out. He could blank you, and then you got to win the next 2. And then even in the other games we won, like the catcher dropping a pretty easy pop fly. Well, not easy, but a play he probably should have made.
Yeah, he'll make that most times.
And other errors in the field that allowed us to get guys around. Like, I get they've had that mental thing going. That's definitely in their head. But I think if Skubal doesn't have those lapses, like, we're gonna really need to buckle down and be perfect everywhere else.
And it's just like, it's such the biggest must-win game 1 of all time. As dumb as that sounds, in a best 2 out of 3 series. And obviously, yeah, there is the element of Tarik Skubal can't go in game 3. Like, you're only going to see him once. But if you find a way to beat them with him on the mound again, it's over. It's done. Yeah. Like, I know you can't literally say that, but you are winning one of the next 2 games. Like, that is when you cut the head off the snake in totality, in finality, past whatever you did to climb back in the regular season. Like, you have to find a way. You don't want to force yourself into a win game 6 and game 7 at home, essentially.
All right, we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. I know these are critical games, but your guys' overall thought of how the playoff bracket has looked now that the regular season wraps up. Obviously, we play best of 3 with the Tigers. Winner of that series would then play Seattle. Obviously, they'd have home field advantage there as they clinch the 2 seed. So that means we avoid either the winner of the Red Sox and Yankees or the Blue Jays.
You have to be licking your chops as a Cleveland sports fan right here, because if there's two cities,
I was going to ask you this. I thought that was the best case.
I was going to say, if there are two cities that are just as poverty-stricken, unlucky in the playoffs, pending doom and death and collapse, it is Detroit and Seattle. So that is the best possible place you can be in. The Seattle Mariners won 117 games with Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., and Ichiro Suzuki, and still lost in the first round of the playoffs. Like, if there's an organization you want to run into when things matter, they're right up there with us for teams that you can take down. Like, yeah, they don't have the lineup outside of Cal Raleigh. They got Josh Naylor. Eugenio Suarez hasn't totally been what they thought he would be when they got him at the deadline. They got a great rotation, but sometimes you can dumb things down in life, right? Would you rather play the New York Yankees or the Seattle Mariners? I'd rather play the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, it's just that simple. And I mean, like, yes, they did go out there at the deadline and they made a lot of noise. And Jack, to your point, history tells you sometimes that doesn't make the biggest impact come October. Like, that's great. It definitely helped them get as far as they're at. It helped them avoid playing in this wild card series, unlike us. But there's no saying that Suarez is going to be the same world beater that he was in the regular series. There's no saying that Josh Naylor doesn't cool down. How many times did we see that happen when the Guardians got to October? So you got to take care of business in what's in front of you with Detroit, but I definitely like the side of the bracket that the Guardians wind up on.